Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Roydell Clarke, second. I didn't want to do this video. Not yet. A lot of things is going on. A lot of things I've been working on. And some of them I'm not yet complete, not yet finished, but I feel like there comes a time where things are just the universe. There's a lot of things that are going on that are giving you a sign that it's time for you to move on something, even if you don't feel you're ready to move. So this video, in a way, is going to be like a memory dump of sorts. It's the first video on my channel. I have 0 subscribers. I have 1 subscriber. It's my girlfriend. Probably the most, the most important subscriber of them all. But right now, effectively, I have no subscribers. And so this is where I'm at. Recently had an interview. I'll actually give you some context where my mind is. A lot of things are going on. A lot of things that are happening. A lot of things I'm working on, as I mentioned. So I'm going to use this video as my first video to memory dump, to get the ball rolling on my channel, to get the ball rolling on my content. I click start, and whatever this video ends up being, I'm going to post it, right? This isn't the first video. That's what I said for my original first video, which I had done yesterday. However, that video wasn't in the correct file format, so I couldn't use it. And just another thing that happens when you're doing video, doing any sort of thing. So memory dump, I'm going to go in all different directions. This is going to be the first video. I think in a year's time, in a couple years' time, this is a video when people filter your list, go back to the original and see this one, they're going to want to see what your first video is about. So I kind of have that, is there anything here I want to say? But really, a lot of different emotions. So that's enough jumping around. I'll try my best in this video to keep it coherent. But really, I'm just trying to get out everything that I feel like getting out as I start this journey and put these things through. Put this content out there. So number one, first thing that top of mind comes to mind as I'm trying to make this as coherent as possible. For some reason, I'm thinking statistics. I'm thinking back to my statistics course and in university. And, as my experience as a university academic advisor, telling students with their electives, if there's any course that they want to take, and I always mention every university student, everybody should take statistics. Even if you're not a university student, you should take statistics. And why this relevant in my memory dump and why this coming back, I think it's because one of the first things I learned in statistics is if you flip a coin, that's 50%. Heads, 50% tails. That's the chances. If you flip it again, still 50%. What's the chances of getting heads on the first one? What's the chances of getting heads on the second one? So both heads as an outcome of 2 flips. And you multiply the probability of this, then that, right? Which is 0.25. It's 25% chance. Why is that sticking in my mind now? Why is it coming back? And I feel that it's coming back because if you can understand that basic concept, that in order for certain things to happen in your life, for this to happen, then this to happen, then that to happen, you have to look at the probability. What's the probability of this happening? Probability of that happening right after this. And what happens if it continues to do that way? What about getting 5 tails in a row, or 10 tails in a row, or 20 tails in a row? It's still 50% chance for each, but the likelihood of this happening kind of takes away the idea of it being a coincidence at some point in time. 500 head flips in a row, something might be off, right? Statistically speaking, that's statistically unlikely. And I don't want to go too much into that, but why am I saying that now? I think the reason why that's coming to my mind is because there's enough events in my life up to this point where one-off things, you can look at it and you could say, okay, that's unlikely. This is unlikely, and that's unlikely, and this is unlikely, and that's unlikely. So I want to table that here and come back, but I'm going to go somewhere else to bring it back. I remember seeing a video at some point, and it talked about when you reach a certain point in your life, everything is comfortable until then. Everything is comfortable until that very point. When you're working on yourself, you're doing this. But when it's time for you to move to the next level, you'll notice that everything around you that was once very comfortable starts to become very uncomfortable. And I've seen this pattern play out in my own life. And so I feel like where I'm currently at in my life, there's a lot of different things that are happening. This is happening, then that's happening, then this is happening, then that's happening, then that's happening, then that's happening. And it feels like everything around me is telling me, Roy, it's time for you to create content. It's time for you to flip this whole thing on its head. Because in one breath, in interviews that I've taken and done, oh, you're underqualified. But you have great insight, and I've never seen somebody as put together and able to come with such innovative ideas in doing this X, Y, Z, and so forth. You'd be a great asset to anything. Okay, great. Another aspect, another interview, for example, you're overqualified, and not overqualified in the sense of degrees. I do have a bachelor degree in business administration. But with your mind and the vigor and the energy that you have and the ability that you're able to put things together, there's no way you're going to stay in this role. That makes you overqualified. So not necessarily in degrees, but really in your ambition, in your mind, and in this, there's no way you're going to stay here. You're, as if to say, you're destined for greater, you're destined for more. And it brings me back a long time ago. I ended up working at Walmart. It's actually one of my, favorite memories, perhaps. And I was embarrassed at that time to work at Walmart. I was coming off of working at, you being a student athlete. So, the pride was very high then. And I remember working at Walmart. And with Walmart, you have these badges. And this badge that I had fell off. And what they normally do is if you lose your badge, they put it on top of where you swipe your card key, where you swipe in and out your time card. And people would lose their card all the time. And when you lose their card, they would put it on top of this time box. And so when you come in the next time your shift is, be the next day, it may not. It may be 3-4 days later. But when you do come in, you'd pick up your key card. Or somebody would say, hey, you forgot your key card. It's on top of the box. So, okay, cool. So for me, I had worked there at this time for about 6 months. And this was the first time I ever dropped my key card. And somebody had found it and put it on top of the box. The next shift I came in, it was about 4 days later. I went into the staff room. Everybody's there before we start the day, before open. And everyone's like, wow, Roy, you're here. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? They're like, well, we found your key card. Your key card was on top of the box. And I said, yeah, I must have fell off. I must have dropped it. They're like, well, we all thought you quit, man. We all thought like you were out of here. And I thought, why would they think that of me? When again, at this time, for further information, more context, I had not spoken about any leaving for anybody. I had not done anything like that. But they all thought when my key card dropped and it was on top of the box, I was gone. And the way I interpreted that, and after getting some feedback, I talked about it to a couple of people after that. They're like, man, like, there was no way, no reason that you should have been here. Like, you had a lot of things going for you. And in a way, at that time, it's almost as if they were trying to tell me I'm destined for other things, right? Why would you not think the same for everybody else? Why would you not think the same for me as you would everybody else, unless you have a different expectation for me when my thing gets lost versus everybody else? And again, there was no indication of me leaving. So I think about, my mind jumps from the statistics, that element of, probability this and this. I think about that video where you reach a certain point in your life where everything starts to become uncomfortable. And hearing these signs of, okay, it's time for you to do your thing. And I've been working on that stuff, been putting my site together, been putting, the ecosystem for the content that I want to create, the other things that I want to do, even as far as the background and stuff goes, like the things, cultivating my space so that it's representative of my mind and conducive to the work that I want to do. But man, is it uncomfortable now. It's uncomfortable in a lot of ways, but I'm ready. I feel like I was going to be ready soon. I feel like that time, but I think everything is telling me, if I'm listening to what's happening around me, it's time for me to create, right? And no longer wait. I essentially did this one interview. I ended up doing this last interview, which kind of prompted me into this. I ended up doing 3 interviews for this company. And it's an education-based company for kids. And I don't want to get too into it, but I ended up completing their project curriculum that they had for the kids. I actually went through it, seen the examples, went through it. I saw other use cases that they could have coming in. I made sure not to overstep my boundaries, that sort of thing. And the answers that I got, like, this was impeccable. Your answer couldn't have been more perfect. Oh, we're going to put you through to the next round for sure. Not even going to waste time on any of this stuff. Like, you are a great fit. You're a great culture fit. You're this, you're XYZ, you're 1, 2, 3. And even in that final interview, I was able to level with all of them. For example, I'll leave it there. But it was a great conversation all the way through. I feel like I've done well on all the answers. And the response that I got back was, again, man, they were very impressed with your detail, your understanding of the company, and your ability to apply it more or less. This position just seems entry level. Like, you are, they said this position more entry level, and that's not you, exclamation mark in my response, as if to say, man, like, you are better than this thing here. And it's like, okay, great. But, so I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm going to create my stuff now. I'm going to get my stuff rolling. I'm going to get my stuff out there. And again, I'm not yet right where I want to be as far as creating it, but forget about all that. I'm just going to get it going. So this video is really a scramble. I just feel that, you put the science together. It can't be a coincidence because it's been happening for many years now. And I have been working on myself and kind of breaking the mold and improving. But it's at a point now where it's almost as if to say, you need to go out and create your own thing. There is no mold here that's going to help. And it's a weird feeling. And I say this humbly because I've worked at it, right? And it's something that my dad had instilled in me. You're not better at anything because you yourself are better than that person. You put the work in, right? I was one of his guinea pigs in the way that he instilled these things, from stories to hard lessons to other things. And then as you get older, you start to put it all together. But the confidence that I have really comes from the hard work that I've put in. And I was quiet for many years, putting the work in, because I feel like I want to have a base, a foundation that is genuine and authentic, but informed as well, also informed, before I speak on things. And I felt like I was putting that together. But again, everything is telling me, Roydell, you got to create it. There's no space that I'm going to create. And for people that are like me, this channel is going to be for them in that way. I'm going to help people navigate these things that perhaps the in between. Everyone talks about the success. There's things they say, okay, how to go from, 0 to 10K in a month and random videos like that. But there's so many things in between that you would need to know. That gap, that space of skill set, mindset, heart set, tool set, perspective, shift in things that you would need to have that are really very much, they're not found anywhere. And when I bring these things up in the different settings, when I spoke to stakeholders for the university, I ended up working for one of the major decision makers for the university. I remember her pen, pressing so hard into the paper and writing all the ideas that I was coming up with. I had read the strategic plan for the university, the opportunity I think student opportunity plan or something like that they had for a 5-year projection on where they wanted to be and so forth. And I was bringing up the different problems. I also mentioned, um, how university is changing. The micro accreditation thing is probably the way to go. We're looking for student retention. We're looking for university retention, pairing the fourth years with the first years, creating an accreditation around that gives them something more practical beyond the degree, because the degree now, undergrad, is not what it used to be. And I explained it in a practical sense, in a philosophical, in a top level, but also brought it down practical and explained how we can go about this. And then when I came to talking about, a compensation or a way to work me into that, the book closed. I'll never forget how quickly the book closed. And then later on in this meeting I called, excuse me, with these top level decision makers, later on in the conversation, she said, yeah, so what was that idea you were talking about earlier? You mentioned, this and this, and the book opened back up, right? But the compensation closed, value. So the value is given, the value is understood. And again, this is me working as a university academic advisor. This is me working. And to be able to have these conversations and call for meetings like this and have this, that speaks to the value and the respect in that way that I do have. But, it's just a weird thing. And so I just say, going back to the statistics point, it's been a long time in the making. It's a lot of work. I put my head down. One of my mentors had told me, he said, your head's in the clouds. Keep your head in the clouds. But in these coming years, work to keep your feet on the ground at the same time. And if you can do those two things, a lot of good things will come your way. And I feel like in recent years, earlier on, I wasn't as organized. I wasn't as practical in the way I've navigated things. But I was always able to see the bigger picture through anything, the forest through the trees sort of deal. And I feel like now I've been able to keep my feet on the ground and head in the clouds at the same time. And now that I've sort of reached that pinnacle of that, still have a lot of work to do, but I've reached that threshold where I have that skill set. Things become very uncomfortable. And I'm noticing scenario after scenario after scenario after scenario. And I'm like, this can't be a coincidence for this long. Things start to become uncomfortable. And now it's time for me to move on to the next level, whether I feel I'm ready or not, because I had that plan. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I want to leave this memory dump. Oh, actually, there's one more thing I want to say. As this might turn out to be the first video, it's pretty cool that people will be able to look back in a couple of years. And if that's the case, there's certain things I want to say in this video then that, kind of speaks to that. Speak to my future self, but to those that would want to look back and see where I started. What was the first video? What was going on? This channel, if I do what I say I'm going to do, which I plan on doing, and the impact that I plan on having on so many different people in a positive way, I feel like right now with AI, where everything's going, where people now can pretend to be experts in many different spaces with the help of AI, similar to how emails were in the early 2000s, where a lot of people were receiving emails and a lot of them were scam emails, but they couldn't tell the difference. However, you get to the 2010s, you get to the 2020s, those emails go straight to your junk folder. And if they don't and make it to your regular inbox, within 3 seconds, we're able to tell, okay, that's a scam email. That's junk. We don't even have to decipher or question it. It's become very obvious to us, and we may not even know why that is. Obviously, misspelling and things like that you can look to, but for the most part, we're able to deduce that within 3 seconds, and it's not even just one or two things, let's say. I think in the next coming years, we're going to see, with the help of AI, people able to do many different things, start businesses with just themselves, $1 million, $1 billion business with themselves in AI. You're also going to see a lot of people create content pretending to be something that they're not, changing their story as if there's that. And I am starting to see a little bit of it, but I feel on a wide scale, you'll see more and more people be able to identify those that are doing things because it's authentic, it's them, it's true to them. This is their story, and we'll be able to clearly identify those on the other side that are doing the exact same thing, word-wise, video-wise, presentation-wise, dressing the part, got the shades, whatever it is, podcast and all. But you'd be able to, within 3 to 5 seconds, realize this is inauthentic. And so I feel like in this moment, I want you guys to understand that I'm genuinely here to help the people, individuals that are trying to grow professionally and personally, that don't feel like they have an authentic space to do so. And there's a lot of things in between in order to achieve that professional success, personal success, that a lot of people skip over. Very simple things. For example, if your emails, everybody that talks about starting at $10,000 a month, this, that, whatever. If you don't have a clear inbox, if you're not constantly checking your 5 different emails that you have in today's time, and email seems like it's a thing of the past, it's not. You need to have your emails organized, going through a video of that. Mindset, heart set, so many different things that people skip over. These are the things I want to bring to light in this channel, sort of that in between that nobody speaks about. And bring the practical, bring the head in the clouds, how you have to navigate that mentally, but also, the practical skills that people skip over. And I feel like I'm reminded of something my dad said when I was young, and I think I'll leave it off on this. He said, when you see a problem that makes you uniquely qualified to fix it, when you see a problem that makes you uniquely qualified to fix it. And in recent years, because I see this problem, and I'll in later videos explain why that came to be, I feel that I'm uniquely qualified to fix it. And that is what I've done. I've developed the skills, tools, resources that I had to put towards that. I thought I was nearing the end where I would be able to start probably in a month or two. But the universe, it feels like, and everything else in my life is making it very uncomfortable to the point where it's pushing me to create this video and other content coming out after this. So that's where I'm at. This is my first video on the channel. I have no subscribers. I look forward to it. I look forward to posting the other videos on my channel. You'll see it get built out, hopefully by the time that you come to see this video. This video probably won't get any views for the next 6 months. None of my videos on my channel for the next 3 months will probably get videos. I'm not sharing anything until the bulk of my channel is put together, because that's what I want to do. I don't want the different perspectives, point of views, the trolls and stuff there. I just want to get my stuff out first, and I look forward to that. I think that's a benefit, right? Than having your stuff blow up right away. So that's what I look forward to. I'm going to post more videos. Even today, I'll post more videos, more concise, speaking to the point. But this is a memory dump. This is me just getting started, me just being able to put out a video unfiltered to get this ball rolling, because I am so damn uncomfortable, but so damn ready at the same time, apparently. But we'll find out. So if you're watching this video and you've watched it to the very end and are hearing this now, thank you for taking the time to do so. My name is Roydell Clarke, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.